our gifts, which of thy bounty we're about to receive through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Africa, a Cahill Lake, a East Specialta, a Green Ushla, Buhori and Kunde. Our son, come and look last Gael, Bruree, to Ahas or Falcha, a Corrib Gakenia and Shohanocht. To Ahas, Mooring, Slow, Comor, Shaw, a Feskent, an Oakide Specialta Shaw. Reverend Fathers, Chairman, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, county champions. On behalf of Bruree GA, we're delighted to welcome everyone here tonight. It's great to see such a crowd here on this very special occasion. We were just saying here at the table what a difference a year makes. We had about 100 people here last year and struggled to get them in. And it's great to see what a bit of success does, and the start of a lot more success, hopefully. Our first speaker tonight, I'll call on our own club chairman, Noel O'Halloran, to speak, please.
A Ian Specialta, a Green Ushla. Tahas Moorarum, as son Costa Bruree, agus Club Bruree, Falcha, a Curla Gakenia, Donan Oakide Specialta, Shaw. Reverend Fathers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honour for me as chairman of Bruree Club to welcome you all here tonight. County champions and all. The 15th of October at about 5 o'clock, when Dennis Richardson blew the whistle, is a date, a time, and a day that will be remembered for a long time in Bruree. It, I suppose, becomes more special when you beat the kingpins of Limerick hurling by 1 point. Now, I would have to compliment Patrick Swell also, in that I am told that it was one of the better county finals for a number of years. I don't remember it personally. I saw it after on tape, but we know the result at that stage. So, Patrick Swell, being the team that they are, were very gracious in defeat, and we compliment them on that. Hurling is a game that requires great skill, courage and discipline from everybody who plays it. Now, I don't think you'll find a better bunch of lads anywhere in the country than the lads who won the county for Bruree this year. They were very, very disciplined. So much so that I think we only gave away 5 frees in the course of the whole game. 1 in extra time in the second half. Now, I think that's something of a record. It would be very remiss of me tonight, as I am only chairman of the club for 1 year, not to remember those who were there before me. Back in 1893, when it was won last, now they tell me this is the second time Bruree won it. I'm not so sure of that, because my information is that there was only 1 Bruree player on that 1893 team, a man by the name of Simcox. Now that family name is still in the village and still in the parish. So for me, it's the first time Bruree won the county. And as I said, it would be remiss of me not to remember the people that were there before me since 1893 that kept the club alive, kept it going, when times were not so good. So I feel very lucky, very honoured, very privileged to be chairman at this particular time. I read something in the paper a couple of days after the county final where somebody was asked, what did he put the win of Bruree's win down to? His answer, I think, was good. He said 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. Now, I think he was talking about the players because this particular individual gave of himself 150%. So I think he was referring to the players only. I refer, of course, to John Toohey. We are, I think, extremely indebted to John for his commitment and the amount of time and dedication that he gave to the club. I don't know, he hasn't told me how he felt on the day having beaten his own club in his own parish, but I think he got a certain satisfaction out of it. As chairman, it gave me extreme pleasure to watch Stephen McDonagh climb the steps of the Mackey stand to collect the Daily Cup for a couple of different reasons. One being, I suppose, that Stephen himself has given so much to the club, the county, to hurling. That, put it this way, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It was great to see him climb up there, and boy did he punch the air with that cup when he got it in his hand. It was, I've never seen any trophy taken with so much pride and passion. I would also like to remember and thank my fellow officers and committee. Noel Brosnan, I'd say that the country would be quite safe in making him Minister for Finance at any time. He's a great man to look after money. And you know, it's a very important thing. So the election's coming up, Noel, maybe you'd never know. As for Elaine Horgan, I don't know how I would put it into words, but Elaine has done so much for the club, so much work in the last 12 months that it's unbelievable. I know that's one of the lads whistling because when she turns up at the training pitch, they train that much harder as well. So I can understand the whistling. The committee worked during the year, they worked tirelessly during the year, and you know, it takes a lot of work and dedication from a lot of people. And again, I think it's well that we should remember those that were there before. I think that is vital, very important. I look down the room here and I see quite a few of them that would have been officers of the club at different times. So I think they deserve a big boulabass because, as I said, the club wouldn't be where it is today without those people. Neither can we forget, I suppose, the people who contribute financially to the club. It is a big expense to keep a club going and getting more so every year. Although I'm reliably informed, but here at the top table tonight, that Croke Park, after today's, that they're going to throw an awful lot of money down to us. So we'll be hopeful of that. Anyway, joking aside, I would like to thank a few people for their very generous contributions during the year to the running of the club. Carmen Eamon Ray, Geraldine Dollery, Noel Dollery, Sonny Ward of Cost-Cutters, who gave us all a great weekend in Brussels. Thank you very much, Sonny. We enjoyed it tremendously. My only complaint was that we drank a bit too much beer and we had a couple of more days to recover, but anyway, thank you very much. It was very generous. Also, I would like to thank everybody who helped the club in any way, and forgive me if I'm forgetting some names that I should be including, but I know how the lads feel when they go out to play the county final with butterflies are like when I'm standing up here, I can tell you. I'd much prefer to be running the line with a bottle of water. It's much easier work. Anyway, we ran a lot of little things during the year, such as a players' draw, a race night, and I couldn't name everybody who supported those things. The people who put in ads for the race night, I'd be here all night and I definitely wouldn't remember them all. But we do very much appreciate everybody who helped us in any way. Now the other thing that has helped the club and helps a lot of clubs in the county is what we refer to as the Mackie draw, or the development draw. We have, I think, over 200 members in that. And it is of huge benefit to us because we get 50% of everything that's collected comes back to the club. The second draw in that, I think, the date I think is the 2nd of March, is it? The 2nd of March is the next draw. So anybody that still wishes to join, they're quite welcome to do so. With that, I hope everybody has an enjoyable night. And, have a good time and enjoy the crack. And I would also like to welcome Donnacha McGowan and his wife to the club this year. He's our new coach, manager. I would like to extend a welcome to him. And I take this opportunity also to encourage the lads to, put in every effort again for the year. It took 113 years to win this title. Defending it is as important as winning it. Now that we have won it, it is very important to have the pride in the jersey, pride in the place, pride in the parish, and go back and defend it. With that, I wish you luck and wish everybody luck in their endeavours to do that. Thank you.
Noel there remembered the people who down through the years kept GA going in Bruree, and we're delighted to have as guest here tonight a man who over 40 years ago did a huge amount of work with youngsters for GA in Bruree. Ken and Pat Kelly will always be remembered in Bruree, I think, as Father Pat, and a certain generation will have fond memories of Father Pat and his Volkswagen Beetle, I think. Anish Glem Kahila Kushtikun Delimni Dennis Holmes, Chairman of Limerick County Board, speak to us please.
Haraka a Kahirdak as a Carda Gael. A Rakadal Shees, Pavaham of Wekas a Goala, Common Bruree, as on Kiran Shahanot, Norwich Kirura, Blin Untat, Norwich Chief, Crave on Contain, a man change on Kedur. Mokagladkas the Gakania V Partak. Mr Chairman, first I want to thank the Bruree Club for the very kind invitation to tonight's function when you are celebrating a great year. The high point was undoubtedly the winning of the County Senior Hurling Championship for the first time in the history of the club. At the start of the 2006 campaign, Bruree most definitely did not feature in the list of Paddy McCallum's main contenders for senior hurling honours. But as the year progressed, their odds shortened considerably. At the quarter-final stage, you faced Granabel and Fina, and for most of the hour, the game could have gone either way. But in a style that was become very familiar during the season, you dug in and fashioned a fine win to qualify to face Doon in the semi-final. This is a very similar game, and midway through the second half, Doon came from behind to level, and they looked at that stage all over winners. But you got the bit between your teeth and fashioned a great win to face the favourites Patrickswell in the county final. On that day it appeared you had at least 90% of the crowd supporting you. And from a hurling point of view, you saved the best wine until last. And you played outstanding hurling to bring the title to Bruree for the first time ever. Indeed, the standard in the Gaelic grounds was severely tested. Such was the volume of noise when you scored the decisive goal. I congratulate everyone involved in the fabulous triumph. One of the things actually I think that your win has done is it has given tremendous hope to all clubs in the county. For a long time it was considered that only a select few clubs had a chance of winning outright honours in this grade. But what you have shown is that with dedication and the proper work ethic, anything can be achieved. This year our county team is led by James O'Brien, and I wish him and the rest of the panel the best of luck, and hopefully your spirit will permeate through to the county team, and who knows what can be achieved. And maybe next year you might have a provincial and national trophy at your social. As I said, you have a number of players on the senior hurling panel, but this year also Peter Finn is working as manager of the minor hurling team, and I can assure you that he is always at pains to point out that he is very much a Bruree man, and I wish him and his fellow selectors the very best of luck. I congratulate you and your committee for the manner in which you promoted the ideals of association in the Bruree area. As you said, this was your first year as chairman of the club. I'm just trying to think now what you're going to do for an encore next year. I also want to thank you and Jim for your contribution to the county board meetings. And I think that you played your part in ensuring victory this year, because at one particular meeting of the county board there was a proposal that the manner in which the championship was played should be changed. The first man on his feet that night was Noel, and he let the meeting know in very quick time the feelings of the Bruree club, and the motion wasn't passed that night, and I think that's down to Noel. You mentioned already, Chairman, the great work done by Noel from the financial point of view. And Jimmy Hartigan has also asked me to thank Elaine. Elaine, again, is her first year as secretary of the club. And as you said, all the officers of the club are following a great tradition of officers. And I've actually looked at some of them down there as well that I would know down through the years. And Elaine, you're extremely lucky to have a secretary of Elaine's quality. And Jimmy has asked me to thank her and to wish her well. Just mentioning fundraising and money, Bruree always is very supportive of all the fundraising activities of the county board, and as you mentioned in particular the development draw, and this year has been no different, and I thank everyone from the club who supported the draw. Indeed, at the first draw this year, the car was won by Kevin Sexton, I think, from Bruree, and maybe more prizes will come to the Bruree area this year. And I'd like to thank Kit for all the work she does as coordinator of the draw, and she still says that she will take any more people wants to join, she'll still take the entries. As you mentioned, Chairman, this year you've been very active in fundraising for the club. But I would just like to mention your fundraising that you did for Milford Hospice. Around New Year's Day, you played the over 40s, the Limerick County over 40s team, and you raised a record sum of money. And on last Sunday night, the Cornu Dálaigh joined Cornu Carrick in the Con to raise more badly needed funds for that very worthwhile charity. I congratulate you for what you did in that, because any money raised for that cause, I think it's a great cause, and I congratulate you for what you did. The one thing, looking at Brian here, I'd just like to thank Brian for allowing the players to bring the McCarthy Cup to Nacan, which I think probably the smallest club in Limerick, and last Sunday night. But I think the McCarthy Cup had actually lighted the air around there, and I got a bit of an growth for the place. So maybe in September, if it finds its way down to Limerick again, I think it will be gladly received. So maybe, Brian, you might let it down here. During the year, the club lost some fine Gaels, and I refer in particular to Pat Potter, a fine player, a great club man, a great Gael, and a great family man. I extend my sympathy, and the sympathy of the board to his family, and indeed I extend the sympathy to all from the parish who suffered bereavements during the year. But I think that you, as a team and as a club, could not have paid a finer tribute to a great man than by winning the county title. And I congratulate you on that, and I wish you well in your efforts to retain your title this year. And before I finish, I just want to mention John and Mike Sexton, two very fine referees who gave great service to the county. Mike has retired, and I wish him well, and John is now refereeing in Cork, and I want to thank him for all his work, and I wish him continued success in the future. Again, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for the invitation. I wish you an enjoyable night, and I hope you have a great 2007. Thank you.
Initially, Cahill Cushte, Limerick Haas, Padraig O'Murnain, Pat Murnain, Chairman of Limerick South Board.
Cahill is a gwine úsle tána has olam bhean so nocht. Agus son má bhain chéile agus mé féin time an gréfar don club mal bhíon mal atá an so nocht. Chairman, fathers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, as Cahill of Board Limini has, I'm delighted to be here tonight to join in this great occasion, on the occasion of what every team that enters the senior championship at the beginning of the year, I suppose, dreams of what aims at, and what Bruree players, past and present, and their loyal band of followers have hoped for over a lifetime. I suppose talking about winning the county championship back 113 years ago, well, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense to any of us, but what was more important was winning it in 2006. And as I think Dennis Holmes mentioned there a while ago, the day of the county final, at least 90% of the crowd present were behind Bruree. And it was great to see another club from this division winning the county senior championship. The previous year we had Gary Spillane, and it was hopefully that with the strength of hurling in the division, that Lacone of Day 2007, that Bruree or some other club in the division would climb the steps of the Mackey stand to receive the Daily Cup at the county final. Now, I suppose I have a long association with Bruree, and a significant part of the Bruree club is the fact that so many of the same families have been involved in the club for so long. Now, I suppose if I started naming them, I'd probably leave out someone, but be that as it may, a great tradition of family members who were great hurling people have continued to keep the club alive and well and keep hurling alive and well in the parish of Bruree. Bruree, for its size and its population, is a typical, what was always a grassroots GA committee and community spirit. There was always great camaraderie with Bruree, and I have, I suppose, not giving away my age or anything, but I have witnessed 3 generations of families in Bruree who have contributed to the GA there as players and administrators. And the first time I think I ever had any association with Bruree was when I was over in Knockamy, and the year was 1957. In a South Junior Hurling semi-final, I was playing the backs, and the full forward for Bruree on that day was Mick Sexton. Now that is going back a long time, but since then some of the same clubs are still involved with the club. Sorry, some of the same families are still involved with the club. So hopefully that will continue, and we look forward to Bruree for 2007 and lots more success, and on my behalf I wish him that success for the coming year. So leishin lenimi dalai ar son cuman lú tasgwail I Bruree or leis míl margaid.
Now we come to the first official act of the night, for want of a better term. The club has published a book to commemorate 2006, the great year that it was, and I now call on our parish priest, Father Des McAuliffe, to officially launch that book.
Accordia cuireann séomhnas mór ar an bheith an seo nocht chun an láir seo an seáil agus an bliain cailúil sé caite a Comóra. Dear friends, there's a Welsh comedian called Max Boyce, and Max Boyce has a catchphrase which is beloved of rugby fans everywhere. He ends all rugby stories with the words, "And I was there." And his trademark is a giant league which is festooned with the red and white of the Welsh national colours. And he talks about Gareth Edwards and Barry John and all those great conquering heroes of the 1970s. And he tells what they got up to in the field and out of the field and claims he was present. Well, I can say that with justification this evening, because I'm sure as the years go by, future generations will begin stories to their grandchildren by saying, long ago, around the time when Bruree beat Patrickswell in the county final. Well, I think there were about 5,000 people there. As the years go on, it'll become like the All Blacks in Munster. There'll be about 50,000 people who will be claimed to have seen the county final in the October the 15th, 2006. We have recovered at this stage from our celebrations, but the memory is all the sweeter. The title of the book which John refers to is called Remembering a Fantastic Year. And this is a labour of love of John's and Elaine that certainly deserves great attention and worthy notice. And it represents all the hopes and the yearning of many generations that has now been fulfilled. And if you look at the book, I have the preview. I can see it because I've said it. The photographs say it all. The passion and the emotion and the elation in the photographs that you see taken on that day. And I was very proud of, I've said to Noel Brosnan several times, I said, Noel brought me out to the pitch. I walked on the hallowed Gaelic grounds pitch. I met the side, and I came back to one of the most proudest moments of my life. People think actually I'm exaggerating that. It wasn't. It was the most wonderful occasion for me. Now, may I tell you, of course, my street cred among my fellow priests went up enormously, and I also certainly secured my rural credentials very effectively. So this is a publication that we're launching tonight that will be browsed over by many years to come. And one of the contributors is a man called Matt O'Callaghan of the Vale Star. And he says, I think, what Pat has said and what Donal referred to too. He says, to quote, he said, "It says of a parish that can be achieved, a small parish that can be achieved, and the painstaking effort over a long period to scale the pinnacle," quote unquote. That's from the contributor. So tonight is a day of remembrance. It's a memory to cherish, and this will be a success to vividly recall for many generations. And so tonight it is my great honour and privilege to be able to present to you the handbook of 2006 of the success of Bruree in all its glory, in wonderful photographs, in lovely recall of a day of days that made us all immensely proud and gave us such cheer and heart for the year ahead. To my own wishes to the team as we approach a new time, every success, and if we only have a little hint of what happened last year, why will Bruree rock? Thank you to the chairman for having me here this evening. Thank you for you as your guest, and thank you for the honour of launching this wonderful publication that I'm sure all of you will appreciate. Thank you.
It is not that long since Bruree GAA launched its club history. The one achievement missing from that chronicle of Gaelic games in Bruree and Rockhill since the late 1800s was a county senior hurling title. Rectifying that absence was a lot closer than anyone thought that night above in the Deer Park Hotel. For many reasons, 2006 is a year which will never be forgotten in Bruree. In sporting circles, the winning of the county senior hurling title was an historic event, not alone for Bruree, but for Limerick. It was a win which was needed by the club, by the players, by the parish, and probably even by the county. When the excitement died down a bit, the club looked at ways of providing some tangible means of marking that victory, of providing supporters and friends of Bruree GAA with a memento of the occasion. We eventually came up with the concept of publishing a book which would bring together details and photographs of the 2006 campaign, along with personal perspectives on county final day. Elaine and myself set about compiling that publication, and the book Father McAuliffe has launched here tonight is the result of these efforts. It runs to 60 pages and contains over 200 photographs. It's a limited edition, and when it's sold out, that's it, no more. The girls will have some on sale after the speeches just before the dancing starts, so you'll have a chance to get your copy of it. And each member of the Victorious team will get a complimentary copy to keep and to treasure for years to come. We want to thank everyone who contributed to the book. Your help and support is greatly appreciated. Thanks to Elaine for the huge amount of work she put into the book in her usual efficient and cheerful manner. Thanks to Father McAuliffe for launching the book here tonight. Once again, thanks to my wife Kathleen for putting up with my comings and goings on behalf of Bruree GAA. I suppose she's one of the many GAA hurling widows in the parish. And finally, thanks to our senior hurlers for giving us a reason to produce the book. Well done. I now call on Elaine to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the club, I would like to thank everybody who contributed to the articles and photographs that have comprised of our journal. Our aim was to put a souvenir journal together full of pictures and articles to reflect one of the proudest and happiest moments in our GAA history. I hope we have achieved it. I'd like to thank my fellow officers and our hard-working committee as usual. With regard to the journal, I'd like the biggest thank you to go to John Harold for the huge amount of time and effort that he has put into this journal. I sincerely hope you all enjoy the read. Finally, I hope you all enjoy the night. You deserve it all. Thanks.
We're now moving on to the presentation of junior, minor and under-21 football medals, and our county chairman is presenting those. So if you come up as quickly as you possibly can here, there's a lot of medals, so we don't want to be here for the rest of the night. There's dancing to be done. Yeah.
On the floor, maybe.
Right. They're in no particular order now, and if you're getting 2 medals or 3 medals or a scatter of medals, they're in the envelope together. First name out, Gerard O'Dea. Michael Milan. If you can come up as quickly as possible now. In here, towards the back, that's it. Morgan Lyons. John Deedy. John Lynch. Kieran O'Rourke. Shawnee Kelly. Emmett Morrissey. Conor O'Brien. Ger Broderick. Daniel Lane. David O'Dea. Christy Kelly. Donald Deedy. Trevor Ryan. Brian O'Rourke. Shane Milan. Jason Kelly. Dara O'Connor. Michael Lane. Michael O'Donnell. Tommy O'Brien. Jimmy O'Dea. Patrick Deedy. Brian Morrissey. Shane Finucane. Michael O'Gorman. David Broderick. John Frawley. David Hogan. Looks like David brought his own fan club with him. You all have to bring your fan club next year. Jimmy O'Dea. David O'Dea. Sean Dean. He brought his West Cork fan club. John Paul O'Connell. I thought you were all in training and there was no drinking. Michael Bruder. John Deedy. Aidan Frawley. Yeah. Joachim O'Kelly. Alan O'Sullivan. John O'Halloran. Paul Fitzgerald. Vincent Stanton. Gerard O'Dea. Edward Potter. Anthony O'Shea. Mark Noonan. Eamon Sexton. Lauren Sexton. Gerard Sexton. Mike Sexton. Mike is retired from refereeing to play hurling. Or maybe it's golf. John Lynch. Christopher Sexton. Michael Milan. David Barron. Morgan Lyons. And Donald Deedy. Now we move on to our seniors and their great achievement during the year. And first up, I want to call John Toohey to say a few words, please.
I wish you were as quiet in the dressing room as you are tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody present tonight, it's a fantastic honour for me to be here tonight to see the seniors get their county medals. As you all know, hurling is about passion and discipline. And as a coach, manager, the greatest privilege is to see your team deliver your philosophy of hurling. You all know my philosophy of first time hurling, ground hurling, and putting your opponents under pressure all the time, blocking and hooking. It's paid off so much in the last year. I even think maybe Brian Cody may have borrowed this philosophy last year when playing Cork above in Croke Park, because it certainly paid off for him as well. I want to thank all my players for the great training sessions and matches that you played for Bruree over the last few years. You were wonderful. You showed superb dedication, and thank God it paid off. I want to thank my selectors, particularly my old friend Pat Boyce, John Potter, John Lyons and Mike Milan for their friendship and for their hurling brains. Little did I know when I met Pat Boyce on a dark January night in Croom with Mike Milan, who was interviewing me at the time for the position, that we would go all the way to winning a county title for the first time in 113 years. It's been a long, long journey. It's been fantastic. I want to thank Elaine Horgan, Noel Halloran, Noel Brosnan, and especially Kit O'Halloran for all her work over the last 2 years. I also want to thank, of course, John Harold for all his PRO for the club and for all his help and support throughout the year. My biggest thank you is to the people of Bruree. I think you have been absolutely fantastic in the last, particularly last year, I suppose, but for the last 2 years, you have given me great support and given me great respect, and I very much appreciate that and all the good wishes you've given me and my family over the last year, and particularly since the county final. It's very, very true. I'll never ever forget the goal that Tommy O'Brien scored, because I think that the roof of the Mackey stand nearly came off with the shout. It was so loud. And it wasn't just Bruree people, it was everybody in the stand. When that goal went in, everything changed. And it was absolutely fantastic. I think it's a sporting moment never to be forgotten. I also want to thank I want to thank my wife Lorraine for supporting me for the past 2 years. She has been fantastic. It's been difficult coming away from home. It's been difficult leaving home every evening at 5:30, 6 o'clock and returning at 10 o'clock at night. I'm sure most guys involved in hurling realise that it's a huge amount of time and huge dedication, and it was fantastic. It paid off. I suppose before I finish up, there's just a few things I want to say, a few things I want to share with you. As you probably know, Noel Havern mentioned Partickswell and so on, and yes, I have been involved in Partickswell. I was born in Partickswell, and my father and my uncles all hurled at Partickswell, and there's a long association between Partickswell and Bruree. In fact, my uncle Michael hurled in goals with Limerick in '65 and played with the great John McDonagh on there as well, and he knew Liam Hogan quite well as well. So there's a long tradition there. As you know, my dad came to all the games during the last 2 years, has become an avid Bruree fan. But one thing, it was actually amazing because my uncle Michael came to the county final this year, or 2006, in 15th of October, and it was the first match he'd been to see in 17 years since Tony O'Brien died. So that shows you how much he held Bruree in esteem. Just two little things I want to share with the team, I suppose, two little secrets. The first one is something I probably learned which we got from Partickswell as kind of a tradition. It was handed down to us in the family. It was something the two he's always carried in their gear bag. It was a small little bottle of holy water. And every time you hurled this year in championship, each one of you was blessed. You mightn't think it, but you actually were blessed before you went out in the field. So it obviously paid off. And the second thing was, there's nobody in this room, I'd say, can tell me what the gospel, the last line of the gospel was on the 15th of October. There's one for the priest now in the night here. The last line of the gospel on the 15th of October was, nothing is impossible to God. That's the honest truth. And I know that so many people were praying for the Bruree team. While the lads were out hurling, all the ladies were at home on their knees praying. I tell you, it really paid off. So lads, to the team, to the senior team, I say to you, you were absolutely fantastic. I'm looking down there at Mr. Hogan. Okay, the man who epitomises discipline for 2006. Okay, I'm looking down at Stephen McDonagh, the man who epitomises passion for 2006. And I'm not going to hog the microphone anymore, but all I can say is you've been absolutely brilliant, and the county medal you received tonight, it's been the moment I've been waiting for since the 15th of October to see you receiving your medals, because nobody deserves them more than you. So well done to you all. Enjoy your night, lads, and thank you to everyone in Bruree.
Thanks, John. John spoke there of the support he got from the club and the players and the people of Bruree, and I think John only got back from Bruree what John gave to Bruree, and as our chairman said earlier on, that was 150%. Well done, John. Now I'd like to call on our captain, Stephen McDonagh, please.
Thanks, Has. Reverend Father, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour for me to be asked to say a few words this evening. I'll try and keep it as short as possible. I want to welcome everybody here to join with us in celebrating our success with the County Championship in 2006. I'd like especially to welcome our distinguished guest, Brian Cody, and his wife Elsie, who've travelled up from Kilkenny. I'm sure Brian had plenty of offers to be in Croke Park today, but we're privileged and honoured to have him here with us this evening, and I hope he enjoys the evening. I suppose the biggest compliment I could pay to Brian, I've watched him as a player and as a manager for many years, is that he's an equally gracious man in defeat as well as victory. And I think it's very easy to get caught up in victory. We all got caught up in it ourselves in 2006. But there are days when you go out when the thing doesn't fall into place, and I think you've got to take it on the chin. And if I was to pay any tribute to Brian, I think he does that excellently. I'd like especially to thank the team who I was very privileged and honoured to be captain of, a great bunch of lads who gave everything in the pursuit of glory, which we ultimately attained by winning the county final in October. I'd also like to pay a huge tribute to our club and our hard-working committee for their honesty of effort during the year, not only last year when we won the county, but over the past number of years when things were, when money was hard to raise and when people were hard to come by to go to matches. The committee and the club always backed us, and we thank them sincerely for that. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our new trainer for 2007, Donncha McGowan, and his wife Anita, who joined us this evening. We look forward to working with you, Donncha, and if you get half the commitment and honesty of effort as John got last year, we'll have a very successful year this year. I'd like also especially to thank the Kelly family for their hospitality to us here this evening and for the wonderful meal they've served up. I think the Kelly family have been great friends of our club, going back for the past number of years, and for the past couple of years when the crowds weren't as big, they were as hospitable as they were this evening, so I think they deserve a huge round of applause. In winning last year's county title, one of the honours that were bestowed on the club was that James O'Brien has got a fantastic honour in leading Limerick for 2007. I wish you the best, James, and you'll have the full support of everyone here. I know the lads won't mind me mentioning, I would just want to mention four players who were part of our setup for the past number of years. I think they deserve just a special mention. Maybe at the end of it you can give them a round of applause. First of all, I want to mention a lad who came back from not one but two career-threatening injuries to play centre forward in the county final against Partickswell. He's been a wonderful addition back to our panel, and that's Gerard O'Brien. I'd like to mention a lad who hasn't been with us last year. He was out through illness. On a wet day in Kilmallock against Knockany, he scored a point, and only for it we could have been stuck in a right relegation dogfight, and that's Patrick Lane. We have another lad, a young lad, very promising player who just backed us this year after a bad shoulder injury, Gerard O'Dea, and he's welcome back to the panel. We're delighted to have him. And last but by no means least, there's a lad down there. I've been very fortunate enough to be taken out alongside him for a long number of years. He's a lad who never looks for limelight. He's living outside the parish. He's the first to train it, he's the last to leave it, and when he comes up for his medal tonight, he's well entitled, and that's Christopher Sexton. I want to thank my own family for their support over the last number of years with the club and also with hurling with Limerick, and they've given me every support and encouragement to play the games, and also a huge thanks to my wife Kay as well for her support. And finally, just to finish up on a lighter note, there were a couple of us having a few drinks about 3 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't drinking, but on the street after the county final, and Tommy O'Brien came out and he walked across the street and he put his arm across my shoulder, and he said to me, Stephen, he said, I'm delighted we won today. He said, do you know, he said, that I won you your first county medal. So Tommy, I greatly admire your modesty, but the most important thing is to make sure you're coming up to me in the middle of October this year and telling me you won my second one. So finally, just to finish up, I hope everyone has a great evening, enjoy yourselves, and the one thing that I learned about last year is that it takes a mighty team to win a county championship, but it takes an even better one to retain it, and that should be our aim for 2007. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. When we started planning the ins and outs of tonight after the county final and in 2006, we knew we needed someone very special to present the medals here tonight. And I think by the reception he got when he came into the hall, we made a great choice. I want you to welcome our special guest here tonight, probably hurling's most successful manager ever, from Kilkenny, Brian Cody.
Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be here tonight. To be honest about it, this time of the year, once hurling season gets underway, I don't tend to do this sort of thing really. But John rang me at work one day and filled me in on the story, and straight away I knew in my heart and soul I would be more than happy to come down here tonight to join in your celebrations for your first county championship win, because certain my own, even though I'm involved at inter-county level nowadays for the last few years, all my spirit and all my background and everything belongs to my club really, and I very much realise and understand the importance of the club in the GAA, because essentially the club is what the GAA is all about. And I can also remember, I think it's at the 15th of October, I don't know the date off by heart, but I do know, I remember, and I made a sort of a mental note at the time when I heard the result of the Limerick County final and realised that Bruree had won. And it just stuck in my mind that a player like Stephen McDonagh had won his first county championship medal, and that to me meant something, because I think things like that mean something to all hurling people. And it's events like that happening, I mean, having played for so long for club and county, to see a player like that win his first county championship medal in his mid-30s or whatever it is special, and it means something to all of us. So I'm more than thrilled to be down here tonight. I think it's a wonderful night for the club. First thing I'd like to do obviously is to just congratulate everybody concerned with the win. First and foremost the players. And when I say the players, not just the 15 players who played in the final or whatever subs came on that day, but every player who was part and parcel of the panel, who made the training sessions important, who contributed in a major way to the spirit of the team and the spirit of the whole thing. Because as far as I'm concerned, certainly spirit is the be-all and end-all of any team. And if I've tried to do anything with Kilkenny and the Kilkenny team, essentially all I ever wanted to do was to get a team on the field with a massive spirit, a spirit essentially that could never be broken. And it's obvious to me tonight, from the time I came into the function room here tonight, that I'm surrounded by people who have a massive pride and a massive sort of passion for the place where they come from and for the club of Bruree. And that's what makes tonight really, really special for me, because to see that passion, and John spoke about his ideals, passion and discipline. Well, it's obvious, and speaking to Noel and speaking to the various people involved in the club here, it's no wonder essentially that you have got your just rewards and that you have got your county championship win. Because when I came in here tonight, I could feel a spirit, I could feel a sense of belonging for everybody, and to get that feeling in the club is just something very, very special. Because I know myself, like I mentioned my own club, Jem Stevens there, we won the county championship 3 years ago, and we hadn't won it for 23 years. It seemed like 113 years or whatever it is as well. And we actually got to the stage where we thought we might never win it again. And I will always recall that day 3 years ago, standing in the middle of Nolan Park after the game, and And even though I have been lucky enough over the past few years to have had some success at inter-county level, I know in my heart and soul that I have never been as happy as I was that day 3 years ago when my club won the county final. Because like I said, the club for all of us, for all those hurling people, is just the be-all and the end-all essentially. Now having said that, I think as well as also absolutely hugely important, the inter-county game of course as well as it's essential. And unfortunately the club player and club players and club scene, and I know the Limerick County Chairman is here tonight, I think it's something for the GA at all levels to look at, is the whole club inter-county set up the way it's developed, and club players are losing out, and I'm very conscious of that as an inter-county manager, that I suppose the summer months are going by and club players are not getting enough hurling, and I think that's something that has to be sorted out and can be sorted out, and it can be sorted out not to the detriment of the inter-county game either, because it's essential that the inter-county game remains strong, and the profile of it is huge, and you know, the games on television, all our youth, our kids need that kind of stuff. They need our heroes, they need their role models and all that, but certainly the club players need to get more competitive action right through the summer months, and like I said, speaking from the inter-county point of view, I think that's becoming more and more realised by the powers that be, and hopefully something can be done to rectify that situation. I mentioned about young players needing heroes and needing role models and stuff like that, and the inter-county players do supply that at national level. But I think the fantastic thing about a club like Bruree winning their county final is that the kids in your area now will see you, senior players, as their role models and their heroes, and it's very, very important that you players realise that, because that's essentially what you are. And the young players who are being introduced to the game and being brought up to love the game and enjoy the game, which of course is the first thing they've got to do. And essentially they are the future of Bruree, they're the future of Limerick, but very much they're the future of Bruree Hurling Club. And it's essential that, you know, that senior success is used to develop those youngsters. Because I know again from my own club that winning that county final, it sort of made sense to the people who look after our underage teams. It gave them a reason to continue on to do that. Because, you know, you can continue on to develop players and develop players and develop players, but if you constantly are hitting disappointment eventually along the line, it does tend to kind of frustrate a bit. But now, the people in this club who are working with underage players, you know, I'm sure are rejuvenated and are just on a massive high because of the win, and will continue to develop those young players. And, you know, I think it's obvious here, you know, I belong to a city club and it's not as easy to have that sense of community, but to me it's obvious here that there is just, you know, a whole passion for the club right throughout the whole community. And speaking to Noel there, I know that you have an awful lot of support and an awful lot of people involved at underage level, and long may that continue to last, of course. Now that obviously you've won your first senior championship, and that, you know, that sort of psychological thing of maybe just not winning it is gone. Obviously what's hugely important now is where you go from here as a team and as a club. And I know certainly I do believe that success, I suppose, breeds success, and you know, the feeling that you would have had after your county final win last October surely must give you the incentive to drive it on and not to be happy with just what you have achieved, and like Stephen said, to drive it on and look for more success, and look for more success, you know, immediately. Because very, very often, of course, what can happen with teams, and we've all seen it happen at inter-county level or at club level, that when they do achieve success after trying for a while, that maybe, you know, they take the foot off the pedal and the same drive is not there. Well, I think that's a huge mistake, because I think you need to just redouble your efforts and realise that feeling of success which you've had, that fantastic feeling which you had last October, you want more of that and more of that, and there's only one way of achieving it, and it's a guarantee. And I do know from experience, and it's been mentioned here tonight, that it takes a very, very good team, I suppose, to win one. In other words, it's very difficult to win a championship, but it is more difficult to retain it. And I suppose that's something I'm going to find out myself during the year as well. As well, I would say to all of the players on the senior panel, you know, your sporting careers, essentially, they're very, very short, really. They go by very, very quickly. Now, some might point to Stephen McDonagh and say, how come he's going still? But I know in my heart and soul he's looking back and wondering where it all went as well. It just seems to just fly by. You think you can play forever, but you can't. You can't. And you really have to make the best of it. You really have to make the best of it while you're out there. And for yourselves, you know, having tasted success. And as well, just to touch on something as well before I forget it, to compare a player like Stephen, who has played for so long and struggled so hard to win a championship eventually, and then to compare with this young genius you have out there who comes on and scores a goal at 16 or whatever age he is, you know, and I've seen that in my own club as well, where we had players who played for 16, 17 years with a club and couldn't win a senior championship. And when we did make the breakthrough, we had players on the team who were 18, 19, 20 years of age, just having broken onto the team, and there they are with a senior county championship medal in their pockets. And possibly, you know, they think it's going to be easy. And I've seen it, you know, some of the lads did think last year it was going to be simple, and this way it's going to be forever. Well, it's not like that. And you really, really, really have to get down to it. And thank your lucky stars that it happened for you so quickly, and make sure that you taste it again. Essentially, like I said, your playing careers are short, and the one thing I would advise any sports person, any hurler, any sports person, is when you look back at the end of your career, not to look back with regrets. Not to look back and say, you know, I could have done this and I could have done that, because essentially I've seen too many players like that. I've seen too many players in the corner of a bar or whatever it is, holding court and explaining to everybody how talented they were when they were 18 or 19 or whatever it was, and what they could have done. But it's a shame to see that, because you get one bite of the cherry in this game at your sporting career, and you grab it by the scruff of the neck, and you get everything you possibly can out of it. And that's the one thing I would advise any player, any hurler here tonight, to do that. To do that. And that takes discipline. It takes discipline in your life, because it's more and more the way you look after yourself, fitness levels, everything are hugely important. And what you'll get out of it, essentially, what you put into it. It's a well-worn cliche at this stage, but it is a fact. So very, very definitely, lads, that's the strongest advice I can give to you. And as well, you know, players maybe who haven't broken into the team yet, and younger players coming through, or maybe players in their, whatever, 20, 21 years of age, and they think possibly the opportunity won't arise for you. Well, I always think of a couple of players who I have dealt with myself at inter-county level. And I have a couple of players, we have a couple of players in the Kilkenny team right now, players who have won a couple of All-Irelands. You know, we always have the players who are going to be, everyone knew they were going to be good from the time they were young fellas. But we have a couple of players playing with us for the last while who have won All-Ireland medals and have won All-Stars. But they were never destined for greatness in everybody's minds. They never got to play minor or under 21 with the county. You know, they had great bits of stuff, great effort, great fitness and everything else, but they were constantly being told they weren't good enough. But the character that those guys had, and the ambition that they had, and the determination that they had, not to let their sporting careers go by without getting there, won through in the end. And I won't mention their names tonight, because there's too many people associated with the Limerick County team here tonight for me to be giving away any secrets. But I can tell you for certain that there's a couple of players on our team who are linchpins of our team and have given massive service to Kilkenny and are still doing it and will do it. But they got there by sheer hard work. I'm kind of fed up listening to people tell me about this conveyor belt of talent down there. Majority of the hurlers we have are very, very ordinary players who work very, very hard, who lead very, very disciplined lives, who have massive ambition to do very, very well. And that's why they have achieved whatever they have achieved. And they do realise as well that it could just disappear any time and will disappear very, very quickly as soon as they drop their guard. So sport and achievement in sport is about essentially hard work with a decent amount of talent, a massive ambition and a huge determination to do well. Now I can sense an awful lot of those things here tonight from the Bruree. The whole community, the whole place, the whole hall is filled with people who have a massive pride in their own place and in their own area. So I just like to wish for the coming year, wish you the very, very best of luck. But I would qualify that by saying as well that I don't believe luck wins games. I don't believe Bruree won last year because they were lucky. Bruree, I'd say, won last year, and I spoke to John on the phone because a group of you came together under the very, very strong and honest and talented leadership of John and his selectors, with the committee, the chairman, Elaine, everybody involved in the whole place, supporters, the people in the background, the backroom staff, everybody, because it's about the getting together of everybody involved in the whole place. And that's not luck, that's dedication, that's honesty, which is a huge thing, and that's hard work. So provided you do that all over again, and you won't be depending on the bounce of the ball, you won't be depending on this or you won't be depending on that. You depend on yourselves. Put everything you have into it. Get out there and make it your second county championship in 114 years. And I wish you the very best with that. Obviously, there's a lot of celebrating to be done tonight, so I won't detain you any longer, except to say that genuinely it's a huge honour for me to be here tonight, because I feel really part of what the GAA is all about. I feel really part of something that I'm very, very comfortable with, and on behalf of Elsie and myself, I wish to thank you very, very much for your invitation.
Thanks very much, Brian. Some great words of wisdom there, words of wisdom which we hope everyone will take to heart, because knowing Brian's record of success, we have to realise he must know what he's talking about. Well done, Brian. Thanks very much for taking the trouble to come all the way from Kilkenny to be with us here tonight. We'll move on to the presentation of medals, and Brian is doing the presentation. So we'll start with our captain, Stephen McDonough. At centre back, Stephen was an inspirational captain, leading by example. His hunger for success motivated the rest of the panel, and his first time, no-nonsense hurling, set up many Bruree attacks. Well done, Stephen. If you'd stay, sorry lads, if you'd stay just up here as you present the medals, please. Now, a total of 17 Bruree men struck a slitter in anger or in cold blood on the green grass of the Gaelic Gowns on the 15th of October. In goal, we had Bruree's Davy Fitz. Daniel Lane, brave and decisive between the posts. This was vital in the dying minutes of the final, when he came early to claim a ball from an incoming Timmy Sheehan. And I think Timmy probably still has the marks. Cornerback, Kieran O'Rourke, a picture of consistency during the 2006 campaign. His speed and skill stood him in good stead, and he was always on top of his man. His days of playing championship hurling with Limerick cannot be far away. Fullback, rock solid John O'Brien. Named man of the match in the county final. His goalkeeping experience was a big help when fighting for possession and clearing balls. For 2007, John, the club is buying you new laces for your boots. Stay up here, John. So there'll be no more tying of laces in the second last minute of extra time. In the other corner, our hard-working cornerback, John Paul Murphy. Never fails to hold his own against the biggest and the best of opponents. At number 5, Desi Lenihan. Desi copper fastened his place on Bruree's first 15 during 2005, and his skill and pace played a vital part in the Bruree defence throughout the 2006 campaign. Well done, Desi. On the other wing, number 7, Shane Milan. A great Bruree hurling name. Shane is one of Bruree's young guns with great prospects. He acquitted himself very well throughout 2006, and he's fearless in competing for the ball, and his clearances are very accurate. Middle of the field, wearing number 17 this year, James Charles O'Brien. His long rangy frame running towards goal caused endless problems for defenders. And Charles probably covers more ground than any other player on the pitch and is a great connection between the defence and the attack for Bruree. Number 9, Emmett Morrissey. Emmett is a player for the tough, close encounter. He was doing very well in the county final until an injury late in the first half forced his retirement shortly after the resumption. Well done, Emmett. Number 10, Vinny. James Vincent O'Brien. Our hero against Grana Ballingarry and potentially Bruree's best forward. He's set to captain Limerick in 2007. His lazy style belies his skill and strength. He scored a point in the county final and his sideline cut led to Bruree's goal. And a little bird during the week told me that in Barcelona, I don't know, it was his last year, James had his shoes stolen. Now, I don't know if he ever got them back, but if he didn't, I know a couple of very good policemen in Brussels who can help. All right, number 11, another of the O'Brien clan, Gerard. After a couple of seasons out of the game through injury, Gerard is now fulfilling the promise he showed at underage level. He scored 2 points in the county final, and we wish him the best of luck with the county panel this year. Number 12, Brendan Hogan. What can you say about Brendan? One of Bruree's most physical players, Brendan never gives less than 100%. Fearless, he's a great winner of the ball and he uses his strength to great effect. Number 13. I'd say this man need never ever again strike a ball. His name is made. Tommy O'Brien. Having said that, we're expecting great things from him. Another of Bruree's young guns, he ensured his place in history with his second half goal in the final. Our youngest player, his pedigree alone would suggest that Tommy has a great future with Bruree and maybe beyond. Well done, Tommy. Number 14, Stephen O'Halloran. The Hal. Defender turned attacker, Stephen's accuracy from place balls played a major part in Bruree's victory. Dangerous from play as well as from frees, Stephen converted 9 place balls and had 2 more points from play in the final. A fantastic total. Number 15, the mixer, Michael Lane. Michael was a thorn in the side of many defences during 2006. His speed made him difficult to stop, and he earned many scoreable frees. He popped over a point from play himself in the final. Michael O'Brien. Michael came on for an injured Emmett Morrissey and immediately kept busy with a high work rate. He scored a vital point and is another young player with great prospects. Declan Sexton, the 17th Bruree player to play on final day. Declan came on as a sub and had his couple of minutes in the limelight while Michael O'Brien was being patched up on the sideline. There were the 17 people who actually, as I say, took the field and struck a ball in anger. Eamon Sexton, our reserve goalkeeper, number 16. Next up. Next on my list is Paul Sexton. Paul can't be with us tonight, so I think his brother John is accepting the medal on his behalf. 21 was Conor O'Brien. Another of the O'Brien clan. Another man we're looking forward to great things from. Next on my list is the man who got almost as big a cheer as Brian Cody tonight, David Hogan. He's gone home, is he? Next up, number 24, Seamus O'Connell. Well done, Seamus. Well, Seamus. Another great goal poacher. Number 25, a man our captain referred to earlier on, one of the most dedicated, not alone players, one of the most dedicated members of Bruree GAA, Christopher Sexton. Next up, number 26, Michael Bruder. Well done, Michael. There's Michael. Next up, Joachim O'Kelly. Well done, Joachim. And finally, at number 28, John Lynch. Now, we also have some presentations to make to the team's mentors. Sorry, one man left out of our list, serious apologies. Andrew Sexton. Sorry about that, Andrew. Right, first mentor up, Pat Boyce. Up out of his sick bed tonight. And a man with a connection back to 78 and 82. John Potter. John has connections back again through the last three teams to play in county finals. Mike Mullane. And finally in our selectors, John Lyons. all of them could have and maybe should have had county medals in their own time, but I suppose it's a small consolation to have been part of the winning team in its broadest sense on county final day, and well done. And finally, the Patrick Swell man, the man who chased the police for me, John Toohey. Right, we move on to the club's awards for 2006. And some of these gave us some great difficulty. The hurler of the year for 2006 was a very difficult one to decide. It had to be a member of the senior panel, given their great achievement, but the question was which one. We had some great games and many great performances during the year. In each game, we had outstanding personal performances, but from different players in each game. Eventually, the issue was decided, a touch of Solomon. As an individual player could not be chosen from what was essentially a great team performance during 2006, it was decided to make the award of Hurler of the Year to the senior panel as a whole in recognition of their success. Our next problem was who was going to accept the trophy. We couldn't give one trophy to 27 players. So we put the numbers, players' numbers, into a hat, watched by Stokes Kennedy Crowley, all above board, and the number drawn out to accept the Hurler of the Year trophy on behalf of the Bruree 2006 Senior Hurling Panel. It was number 15, Michael Lane. And all we can say is very well done to each and every one of them. And we hope to be back here this time next year, again trying to decide who gets Hurler of the Year. So we hope you'll all be up here again getting county medals. Now, our next one is the Sports Personality of the Year. And this award is the Donegal Iharagon Cup. And we would ask Donoghal's niece, Maura McMahon, to come forward, please, to present the cup. Right. Winning titles involves more than the players on the pitch. Those on the sideline contribute greatly to the whole process. Our Sports Personality of the Year played a huge part in our 2006 success. Our award recipient was the epitome of efficiency and patience throughout the year. I think it is true to say that our recipient got on with everyone in the club and always worked with what was best for Bruree GA in mind. Our officials at South, County and provincial level were treated with courtesy, although at times the temptation might have been there to do otherwise. Even in times of personal tragedy, there was always the smile, the ability to listen, and the willingness to go away and do what needed to be done without fanfare. Having worked with our award recipient over the past few years, and particularly over the past 12 months, I can't think of anyone who deserves this award more. Our Sports Personality of the Year of 2006 is Elaine Horrigan. Needless to say, that piece was not the piece Elaine was given to read over before tonight. Now we move on to our Hall of Fame. Our 2006 Hall of Fame recipient is a man whose name is synonymous with Bruree and Limerick hurling. Bruree does not have many living legends in sporting circles, but our award recipient certainly qualifies for the title. He showed athletic prowess at an early age and was a member of the Bruree team which won the South Under-14 title and went on to star for Bruree for over 20 years. He has gone on to win a Munster Minor medal, a National Hurling League medal, a Railway Cup medal and of course an All-Ireland medal. He won an All-Star Award in 1973. He must be a proud man here tonight to see his sons collect county senior hurling medals. Our Hall of Fame recipient for 2006 is none other than Jim O'Brien. If memory serves me right, he might have been a protege of Father Pat. We have one final presentation to make, and this is to a lady who has spent the past 7 years in charge of first aid for the club, doing running repairs to injured players, applying bandages and sticking plasters, and using the magic spray. She was also club secretary for a number of years during that period and is currently assistant treasurer of the senior club and treasurer of the juvenile club. She also takes charge of the Mackie draw for the club and is deeply involved in the Bruree GA Rockhill Rovers weekly lotto. Give a big round of applause to Kit O'Halloran, please. Right, before we wind up, we have a small few other things to go over. Firstly, during the meal there, you were served white and red wine. That was compliments of AIB in Kilmallock, who sponsored our round of drinks for tonight. Well done to AIB, and thanks very much. We had forgotten that this is the start of Lent, so it may not have cost them as much as it might have if we had been a week earlier. Our book up here, Bruree, Limerick's Hurling Kings 2006, remembering a fantastic year. Helen and Bernie will be selling it in a few minutes down there at the back. €10 a copy to be treasured for years to come. Next, we have, you might have spotted on display, it's the club's new jersey for 2007. And there will be some of that available for supporters in both adults and children's sizes through the club over the next couple of weeks. So if you contact the club, they'll point you in the right direction if you want a Bruree jersey for the coming season to show your support for Bruree. I think there's something I'm forgetting, but I don't know what it is. It'll come up later on tonight anyway. Once again, thanks to everyone for coming along tonight. We hope you enjoyed the night so far. We know you're going to enjoy the rest of the night. Elaine has assured me these are a brilliant band, so you have a lot to live up to, lads. So enjoy the rest of the night. As Stephen said, thanks very much to Colonel Kelly and the lads and the staff here at Bulgarin Castle for the meal. Is there someone? No, it's the other John they're calling. Now, I'll call on Father Tony again just to say grace after meals, and if you cooperate with the staff to clear the dance floor, we'll go on as soon as possible. And the lads might stay up here at the top for a few minutes just. I'm sure there are people down there who want to get photographs and that, so we'll try and organise getting you in there to get the photographs.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We thank you, Lord, for bringing us together this evening for this wonderful occasion. We thank you for the meal that we have shared together and for the friendships that we have had before tonight. It will continue through the night and continue into the future. We thank you for the wonderful company and the wonderful success story of Bruree J. We thank you for bringing us together. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.